Well, hello, everyone. We're so excited to be here this afternoon for most of us. I'm making sure we're live, and yes, we are live. I'm here with my friend Steve Luther. I met him recently, and we've had some conversations, and I have just loved his heart and what he does. And he's one of our speakers at today's Voices of Hope. So hi, Steve. Do you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Samantha, for having me, and thank you all for joining. I'm excited to talk to y'all.
Thank you, Steve. So today we've had we've been celebrating the first ever Voices of Hope virtual mental health conference, and you are one of our featured speakers. We're so happy and thankful that you participated. I want you to tell us a little bit more about Nuwell online Christian counseling. I was listening to your topic, your presentation, and wow. So yeah. I think everybody should know about this. Do you want to share a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been running local counseling centers here in Western Pennsylvania for about 14 years. And decided there was really an unmet need beyond our local area. So we started Nuwell, which is national and even global. We see people all over the world with pastoral counselors and Christian coaches, just to meet people where they are. A lot of times it's hard to find a good local Christian counselor. Sometimes the options that are available online are kind of like the big corporate kind of things. I don't throw any names out there, but you get these like bots that you're kind of chatting with, and we really, our heart is to be personal and relational, which is really what we believe God has called us to do. So we'll never get as big as those guys that just have bots answering all your questions and randomly assigning you to counselors. We're going to be personal. We're not going to change that, and you'll talk to a real person. When you text us, call us, email us, you'll be getting real interaction with real people. Chat with us on the website. Again, real people, no chat bots. Real personal, relational, which sets the tone for the whole counseling relationship as well. Our goal is to provide people with just the connection and the intimacy with someone who cares about them, because that's kind of scary. We try to make that as safe as possible. But you really can't heal without that connection and that intimacy and that vulnerability. And it's tough to really be vulnerable with, with just a random person. You want to kind of get to know the company and the people that you're connecting with. And our care team walks each person through the connection with the ideal counselor. Yeah, so that's kind of our heart and where we are and how we want to make connections with people and just help people heal. And we love this connection that we have with Fresh Hope because of your mission is just so in line with that as well. And yes. It's really a great connection.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. I believe it's wonderful that relationship that you give such an emphasis to is part of the healing process. And when I was listening to, and the times we've talked and listening to the presentation you made in Voices of Hope, it's very evident that this is a calling you've got from the Lord to really make a difference in the lives of people, and even the way that you charge for things, it's very centered in meeting the need. You know what I mean? It's right. You really want to help the people, and so I'm really excited that the Lord connected Fresh Hope to Nuwell online Christian counseling.
Great. Yeah, we are too.
So we have some people watching us. We have Donna watching from Omaha. Thank you, Donna, for watching. And she says, thank you for all you do, Nuwell counseling. That's great, Donna. Thank you for joining. And I see other people are there. If you want to comment here in the video or you want to ask some questions to Steve, this would be a great time. Just write a question right there and we'll be sure to answer it. Yes. while we wait, Steve, if there might be some people that haven't been able to hear your presentation because they haven't signed up to Voices of Hope yet. So to those people, I want to tell them there is still time. It's going to be for free all the way till 9 p.m. Central today. And you can still grab your pass, register at voicesofhope.us. You can get that free access pass or the all access pass, which lasts for a year. But even if you want to do the free version, that's fine. What we want to do is don't miss what we have. And one of our presentations that we love is Nuwell Online Christian Counseling, because they bring a solution to that we really, it's one of our frustrations sometimes when we have a diagnosis or just feeling hopeless for some circumstance. It's really frustrating not to be able to find a Christian counselor with whom we can trust. And Steve makes a great presentation within the Voices of Hope conference. I'm sure it will show you his heart, and it shouts, let's do it with Nuwell. So Steve, we have somebody watching from Kenya.
Awesome. Welcome from Kenya. That's fantastic.
So would you take someone from Kenya, Steve? Would you tell us a little bit about?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen people from, I can't even tell you how many countries. A lot of people from that are, from that nation, that nationality. We also see a lot of missionaries around the world. So we see a lot of people from different mission organizations that are serving in places, and we also see just people from those countries that are looking for something, looking to connect with a quality Christian counselor.
Awesome, Steve. I guess sometimes it's not easy when you're standing with this huge corporations side to side, but I love it that you're so different. Like you have this warmth towards people. And so, yeah, thank you for all you offer, Steve. I heard that you were going to give a surprise to those who watched your presentation inside of Voices of Hope and left a comment below your presentation. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we just want to make it easy for people to connect and to really experience what we have to offer without having to put out a lot of money in the process. So anyone that does comment there on our talk, we want to offer them a free 30-minute consult with a counselor. So that's after the whole process with the care team that will connect you with, in collaboration with you, who you and we feel would be the best counselor. You then would be able to have a 30-minute consult with them. If you don't feel that's the right person, we'd set you up with someone else to do a 30-minute consult. And then once you do feel comfortable that that's someone you want to work with and you want to begin sessions, we'll give you $25 off on the first session as well. So you get a discount. So you really get 2 sessions, a 30-minute session and then a full hour session at that discount, just to try it out and make sure that it's the right fit for you. Last thing we want to do is try to have people with the wrong counselor or in the wrong fit. We never want to do that. So this is a way of really connecting with, not through the care team and really getting to know us and really getting to know a counselor personally before you have a huge investment. And if it's right for you, then you can dive in further. And if it's not, that's fine. We'll try to connect you with someone that is the right person for you.
Awesome. I can't think of a better way, a better God-sent gift for anybody who's struggling and anybody who's watching this. Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about, is there like I imagine there is a vetting process for all the counselors that are part of the Nuwell team? How do you go about with that?
Oh yeah, it's a pretty strict process. We go through 3 different interviews with people. We really look for people that are spiritually mature Christians that have done their own work, that are on their own journey. In addition to obviously having the education and the credentials, we have, like I said, we have a lot of pastoral counselors. We also have coaches. So we're not real specific about, you have to go through this exact education process, but you do have to be qualified and educated. And when we get hyper focused on, a license, I know a lot of really bad license counselors.
Yes.
And I know a lot of really, really good pastoral counselors. And the great blessing of being a pastoral counselor is that you're not working under the state kind of what are their regulations and coaching as well. So Nuwell really focuses on those coaches that are qualified, those pastoral counselors. We really look for a lot of those personal characteristics that just make someone that can be a guide. We really want people that can be a guide, people that realize they're not the expert, that God is ultimately the expert on this process and really relies on him. But then in the therapeutic relationship, our standard is that very person-centered. So our counselors all have to be able to connect with people and realize that they are the expert on their lives. We're the expert on the process, and God is obviously the ultimate expert that we rely on. So with those three, different, it's really a partnership. If you look at it that way, we don't come in as like, we're going to tell you what to do. We come in and we say, who are you?
Yes.
You are the expert on who you are. Let us then take who you are and help you put those pieces together and guide you to the ultimate guide, that is Jesus Christ.
Hey, I love it. I love that approach. I love the way you do things like so personalized. It does add a lot of value. And just, I know that your presentation is about the Thrive model.
Correct.
And people, to learn more about it, I would recommend they watch the presentation. But do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that the Thrive model kind of came out of this internal struggle that we had with the concept of abundant life, the biblical concept of abundant life, that we feel like, as we look at the church and even look at ourselves, it's like, am I really having abundant life? Is the church really that much different? You look at the addiction and the divorce rate and, just some of the struggles that people go through. And it's like, you got to question, do we really have abundant life? And so we wanted to really emphasize a process to move towards Christ and to really develop the mind of Christ and the abundant life that he promises. But the idea abundant life has kind of gotten watered down. It's like, oh yeah, we have, we're sit there and everyone talks about abundant life, but no one asks if they really do have it. Right. So we wanted to come up with something that would kind of get that concept across. And so Thrive really came to mind. And as we thought about that, it's like, okay, there's got to be a way of putting this together into an acronym. And it's just like God kept giving us these, different ways of making it connected. And so the Thrive model starts with togetherness, which is perfect because God is a God of relationship and puts us together. And just going back to what we talked about before, that partnership that we see clients coming in as a partner is together. It's not, kind of us telling you, how to do it or preaching to you, so to speak. It's together. It's togetherness. We're injured. We're wounded in relationships. We heal in relationships. So we make that connection, and then we help people make other healthy connections within their family, church, community settings. And then we move to the H in Thrive is holiness, which really is in contrast to the world's approach to happiness. I'm not so sure God always cares if we're happy. I'm not disappointed if we are, but it's not like the main goal, you know what I mean? So he really wants us to have holiness. And when we have holiness, we really move into something that's much deeper than happiness, which is joy and peace. And then the R is relevance, that we as counselors need to be relevant to our clients. We need to also help our clients become relevant to the people in their lives and to what they're doing. Kind of like, Paul being all things to everyone. Like we need to be able to, if I can tell, really so for example, if I can love you, but you can't receive it, it's not relevant. Right. So I have to be able to speak a language that you can understand and be relevant to you. And if I'm going to love someone, it needs to be in a way that is relevant to them, that they can experience that, because me loving someone is irrelevant if they can't experience it. So that's where we at THR. Then the I is integration, the idea that body, soul, and spirit. And, you can look at it that way. You can look at just all those spheres of life, marriage, finances, profession, emotional state, all those different things. We have to look at the whole person and integrate those things. Sometimes it can be, someone's even struggling physically, And we do a lot of inner healing work with them, and they start feeling better physically because we've healed spiritually. And a lot of times, even physical suffering is because of emotional and spiritual wounds.
Yes.
So integration brings all that together. Vision is just, the idea that, if we don't really have a vision, if we're just sitting and waiting for things, it's not like, we have that vision apart from God, but we do need to, lean into God and what his purpose and calling is for us in life, and establish a vision, and setting God-sized goals, God-sized visions. Even starting Nuwell up against all the big corporations, it was a God-sized vision, right? It's like, okay, God, if you're in it, we'll do it. You know what I mean? And so having those God-sized visions, and allowing God to then provide. Someone once told me it's vision, decision, provision. You have the vision, then you make a decision to follow it, and then God gives you the provision. And so really being able to walk into that vision, make a decision to do it anyways, really making a decision, even thinking about, as people are listening, making that decision. I have a vision for my life to be healthy and well. Making a decision to enter into that and contact us or someone else that can help you, and then allowing God to provide the way of being able to, go through that process, the financial resources, the emotional resources, just everything that would come with that. And then the last E in Thrive is expectancy. I got really stuck on this. It's like almost like God downloaded the other ones, and then I was like, what's E, God? Like, we talked about a lot of different things, but nothing fit. And it's like, and then it just hit me, expectancy. And I think the reason I couldn't really hear that from God was because I didn't really grow up in my church background with expectancy, with expecting God to show up. It's like, it was like, pray and see what happens, or, not that they would have said that, but that was kind of the implicit message. I didn't really grow up expecting God to show up. And when he did, it was when he started showing up for me, that was something new. And so that's why I feel like I couldn't really hear that. But I think that expectancy pulls it all together, because I'm going to do all this and I'm going to expect God to do it, right? I'm going to expect that God is in this, that he does care, that he does love me, and that he's going to show up, and he's going to finish what he started in me. So that's the Thrive model. And obviously we go into a lot more detail in the talk, but that's in a nutshell right there, the Thrive.
I love it. When I heard the topic, I was like, yeah, this is a download from heaven, no doubt. And I would encourage people to just enter the process. It makes so much sense. Let me see if we have more questions or comments from the people in the team here. I see a couple of people are watching and reacting, but no questions or comments. Just to repeat for everybody who joined the streaming after you mentioned it, Steve, Nuwell Online Christian Counseling is giving away a gift, obviously, to everyone who's watching the topic within Voices of Hope, commenting on the presentation from Steve, and they're going to get a 30-minute free consultation plus $25 off their follow-up appointment, right, Steve?
Correct. Yep. And that's after being loved and nurtured by our care team, even to get to that point. So a lot of care and a lot of time and effort will go into making this work for you.
Awesome. So you really care. Pastor Martin from Kenya is saying, wow, Thrive approach is a great new concept. I'm hearing it for the first time. I need notes on it. He's requesting notes on it. Okay, Pastor Martin, you need to watch Steve's talk presentation. Email me and I'll tell you how. So at Fresh Hope, Steve, we offer peer-to-peer support. So we're not therapists or psychiatrists, but we do believe that the person in recovery needs a support network, where the support group has its place, but we always tell people, go to your doctor, go to a counselor. And for a lot of them, and even here in the Spanish-speaking world, I'm going to tell you that the where do I find a Christian counselor? It's so hard. So I'm really excited that you're out there, that we got connected to you, that you're international. So I can't emphasize that enough.
Yeah, and I'd like to emphasize just the importance of that peer support. I mean, that's the togetherness, right? I mean, there's a connection, there's a togetherness, and just working from, just in psychology, we have attachment theory, which talks about having a secure base and a safe haven, and man, that's it, right? Finding a group of people that get you and are okay with you no matter what is crucial and just so important in the process. And man, our job is always to just come alongside those pieces that are already in place and add to that, never to take away from it or replace it. We work with those different systems that you already have in place. And so, Fresh Hope is one of those. And we're going to be sending, people there from our people that we counsel. And our job is kind of it's kind of a interesting position because we're always trying to work our way out of a job. We're trying to work with people and like, okay, we know this is this is a process and this is something you need to engage in, but we're not here to keep you connected to us for the next 2 years. We're here to get you back to the resources that and have those be enough. We're to give you the tools and to empower you to be able to utilize things like Fresh Hope and your church and your community. And then whenever you struggle again, you call us back, but we're not, a lifelong kind of thing. We're that triage, like get you well and send you back to the things like Fresh Hope that you should be doing for forever, basically. So yeah, it's a great kind of compliment to what y'all are doing.
Yes, it's amazing how it worked out. Steve, we have a great question come up here on Facebook. They're asking if do you take insurance?
We can't take insurance through Nuwell. Our local business does, but we are actually got by the regulations in the government and just their regulations prohibited from doing so nationally and internationally. Insurance is really local based, and they don't allow those to go across state lines.
Okay.
So if someone does happen to be local to us in Pennsylvania, we can through our local business do that, but we've very intentionally set up Nuwell to be able to serve beyond those borders. And so that in that case, we just can't. So unfortunately.
But can I just add that cost-wise, I was impressed to see how accessible Nuwell is.
Yep.
Honestly. And not only that, but I heard you you ask, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm answering for you.
That's
but
okay.
I was impressed that you kind of evaluate with the person where they're at and make a plan that works for that person. If it's once a month and some homework, then be it, so you really work to actually help the person and not give them more burden, right?
Yeah, basically we do a sliding scale based on their income and family, number of people and dependents in the family. And that sliding scale goes from 80 to 125, which is 125 is kind of right in the middle, if not the lower range of what's out there. And 80 really would be in the low range. And then beyond that, what we can do is, a lot of times people hear a number like that and they're like, oh, I got to pay $80, even $80 every week. No, maybe you come a couple times a month to begin with to get some momentum, and then it's once a month or once every 2 months. It's so it's with what if you say to your counselor, I can only come once a month, I can literally can only afford $80 and I'm stretching at that, I'm giving up my coffee, or I'm going to drink Folgers instead of Starbucks or whatever I'm going to do, because really $80 is kind of the difference from that. And a lot of times people can make some changes to be able to afford $80, and then your counselor will give you homework and some things to work on and bring you back in a month and see how you're doing. And it might be a little bit slower, but we work with what we have, again, kind of being person-centered. And last thing we want to do is create another burden. But the very real reality of life is that we do have to charge something because our counselors, this is their full-time job. So unfortunately, we're not able to do that for free, but we work with you as best we can to make that work. And then there's other people that have the resources and come more often. It's just really individualized for each person.
Awesome. I love it. And Joy, who asked this question, is saying, thank you. I'm in Michigan, and she's looking for Christian counseling. Okay. So Joy, I would encourage you to get in touch with Steve. If you are a part of Voices of Hope conference, comment under his presentation so that you get the $25 off, plus the free consultation sessions that they set up for you. But also, I would encourage the whole, everybody who's listening, you got to work on your recovery, and one of our recovery principles, Steve, here at Fresh Hope is that medicine is necessary, but it's not enough. So you got to work in your recovery process. And one of the ways to work in your recovery process is to get a counselor, and a Christian one, preferably. So I would encourage our community to really look into Nuwell's Christian Online Counseling. They are really called to this, and a great answer to our prayers.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring up the medication. One of the scenarios that's very common for us at Nuwell is that people are going to see a local psychiatrist and they're getting the medication, and a lot of times they're required to see a counselor through them, but they're not Christian, and so they still do that, and we encourage them to. In fact, we would we would discourage them from moving away from that and thinking that we're a replacement for that. And there's been times where we've even refused to see people unless they're willing to do both pieces of that. Because it's not just about trying to give people false hope, you know what I mean? And then so someone will go and get their medication and their secular counseling, or just clinical counseling, I guess, from that office, and then they might come and see us once or twice a month for more that spiritual side of it, that biblical direction, and more inner healing kind of work. So it works very, very well in complement to those services, and we never would discourage anyone to think that this would be a replacement to medication, or even someone who has a severe mental illness needs to be seen by someone locally and clinically in addition to what they're doing with us. And so oftentimes that's a real good kind of, again, complement and partnership among different services.
Yes, I love it. So yeah, it takes a network, but there is hope for living well in spite of our circumstances, in spite of our mental health issues. So we encourage people out there to, reach out. And we're really happy that you have been listening to this, even if you didn't get to hear it live. If you're watching this afterwards, please leave your comments below this recording, or send a message to Fresh Hope, and we will be looking out there to help you. I'm also going to write an email address within the comments where you can contact us for more information about Nuwell, so we can connect you to them. Is there any closing comments, Steve, before we finish this streaming?
Just that I'm so excited that people are getting connected to Voices of Hope and Fresh Hope, and just love being a part of that. And hopefully we can be a piece of that for some of the people that are getting help from you guys as well, and that this partnership will go on, because it's really great to be connected with people that are with a similar heart for those that are wounded. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. We appreciate that you're with us, Steve, and thank you for your time right now. So we're going to say goodbye, everybody. Let's please, if you haven't signed up to Voices of Hope, do so. voicesofhope.us. Watch for free till 9 p.m. tonight, 9 p.m. Central, and join the Voices of Hope Facebook group. We're having a conversation, an ongoing conversation within that group today. So join that group if you haven't. Listen to peers share what talks have they listened to, what was their favorite part, what did they take away. It's some great conversations going on there. So thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you and your team. God bless you, and we'll stay in touch.
All right.